everyone, welcome to the Spring Championship of Online Poker 2012 highlight show with me, Nick Welthall at the helm, guiding you through the 5:30 rebuy event. This one would have a 400k guarantee, and we're just doubling guarantees for fun on this year's scoop. A total prize pool of 800k, and that big 160 first prize, 486 runners. I can tell you they'd rebuy 740 times and add on 374 times. Not each, those are cumulative numbers. Now here are your 6 final table lists. Lots of big names from the online poker world and none bigger than the man at the top. And he's there again. You're not watching, you haven't double clicked or something, you're not watching yesterday's scoop highlights final table. Isildur 1 is the chip leader at the start of the second final table we've shown you in a row. This is the high buy, yesterday was the medium buy. But a phenomenal achievement, going for 2 scoop titles in 2 days. It would be ridiculous, but it's by no means a foregone conclusion. 5 great players against him, several with big tournament experience, several that do it for a living. And we do have a scoop winner at this table, B4D3M3 exclamation mark ST3R. That's the only time you're getting all of that. He is a scoop champion. He won the 2K No Limit Hold'em 6 Max last year. He's got a lot of other big results to his name. We'll jump into the action. Hand number 39, Sussy Smith, has raised, and pretty automatic 3-bet from B. Iacha people. I'm going to go with B people. The censor has informed me that's acceptable. Isildur 1 with the Jack-10 suited. And he will make the 4-bet. Sees an open from the cutoff and a 3-bet from the semi-blind. Couple of good reasons to attack, and we know that Isildur likes to attack. Now, be people whose thinking will be absolutely confident of having the best hand with those 2 pretty nice looking red queens. But just thinking about how to play it, he'll go ahead and raise again. And we're into one of those fun pre-flop levelling battles. Not the first one Isildur's ever been involved with. I think that's pretty clear. Thinking about whether to continue in this hand, facing the 5-bet. And will flat call. Gets to play the rest of the hand in position. You see how deep they are at this final table. Not too much joy for Isildur. He does catch a gut shot. Couple of overs. Backdoor diamond draw. What more do you want? He'll need a little bit more to win this hand. 2 queens is pretty nice hand, especially on this board. And B people, who's playing his second scoop final table here. Finished 3rd in a stud high-low event last year. Flexing his Hold'em muscles. We'll make the very small continuation bet. Let's see if he can extract any more chips from Isildur. And he will get the call. So Isildur trying to improve on the turn or take the pot away on the turn. I don't think he's calling because he thinks Jack high is best. Still, a ton of chips behind, more than the pot size bet left, despite this being a 5-bet pot. B people is going to try and get value on every street. I don't think that's in much doubt. Isildur's running out of options here. Hoping his opponent will slow down or his hand will improve. Doesn't matter how good you are, it's kind of tough to do anything with Jack high in the face of remorseless aggression, and Isildur will make the fold. That puts B people as your chip leader, and we'll move on to hand 59. Snake 8484. He's got some big cashes on PokerStars, but needs some help here. He is short stacked in the small blind. Isildur with the real hand on the button. Nice to have his image and the button and pick up a real hand, and that's why you will get people shoving King 8 offsuit into you. Understandable shove from Snake, but he's going to be in trouble here. Isildur makes the call, and Snake 8484 is at risk. He's live. That's the only consolation I've got for him. Okay, well now he's kind of in front. Fun flop. He makes a pair. Isildur makes the flush draw with the overcards. A lot of outs for Isildur on the river, and that's one of them. 7 of diamonds makes him the ace-high flush. And he will knock out Snake 8484 in 6th place. The Canadian leaves with $28,400. And we're 5-handed in scoop event number 3. Isildur involved again, opens this with the 6s, and again he's run into pocket queens. Ladies everywhere. That's just what happens when you're one of the preeminent stars in world poker. Not quite where he wants them though in his opponent's hands. He's going to get 3-bet by Sussy Smith. The blinds will get out of the way. And Isildur will call. Super deep stacked here for the final table of a tournament, aren't they? 100 and plenty blinds each, and Isildur flops the world. Middle set for him, and trouble for Sussy because no real reason to slow down on this flop. Now, how does Isildur want to extract value here? It's a pretty connected flop, so yeah, he does make the raise. And in Sussy's eyes, this could represent a ton of hands, couldn't it? Another player with scoop pedigree. Sussy made the semi-finals of the High Roller heads up last year. Decides to flat call. And well, the King of Hearts, perhaps not the dream card for Sussy, but picks up the heart flush draw to go with the queens. Isildur in an interesting situation here, having check raised the flop. Definitely won't be worried about not having the best hand, but maybe he took a moment to think about different ways to play it, and Sussy Smith gets away from it. So a nice turn card that allowed him not to lose any more money. Isildur making chips in a clear 2nd place. This is hand 76, 4,000, 8,000 blinds. Which means that, well, we're super deep stacked, aren't we? Our short stack, B4D, who opens this pot, has over 500,000. Which is, well, just shy of 70 big blinds starting the hand, so they really are deep. And Rhysandescu can 3-bet with the aces. Nice spot for him. I mean, it's never not a nice spot to pick up aces. Stud low, that's the only one that jumps to mind. But he has an aggressive cut-off opener, so this is not going to look like a real hand too often. Rhysandescu's 2nd scoop final table, also finished 3rd in a W-Coupe event a couple of years ago. No one in this final 5 without big tournament experience. And we're playing the small raising game. B4D makes it 77 with the 4-bet, and Rhysandescu, quick, someone come up with a punchy way and quicker way of saying that name, has made the 5-bet. And B4D will raise again. It's a no-limit tournament. I just want to make that absolutely clear if you've just tuned in. They're allowed to bet as much as they like. They're just playing the click-back game. Not anymore. Finally get to a committing level of bet, and Rhysandescu will shove, and B4D will call. So there was a lot of money in the pot there, and B4D couldn't really get away from it. Doesn't want to see the aces, of course. In serious trouble here. and is also the all-in player. So B4D looking for a lot of help on this board. Oh, we're going to lose him. That does not qualify as a lot of help. 9 of clubs does nothing for him, and B4D gets into an unfortunate spot. Cut-off versus small blind with ace-queen suited happens to run in to the best hand in the joint, and Rutangescu will knock him out. B4D from Germany leaves us with $44,000, swelling his bankroll, and will play four-handed for the title. 4,500, 9,000 blinds. I think I've said this in the first 2 Scoop commentaries, but worth repeating. The structures in these tournaments are fantastic. Whether you're playing the low, medium or high buy-ins, tremendous value, and it carries right over to the final tables. You're really deep stacked most of the time, or the average stack is really deep most of the time. Interesting flop here in this 3-way pot. Something for everyone. Isildur making the Jack 5 into something. It's a neat trick. 2 pair for him. Top pair for B People. And Sussy Smith with the overcards in the straight draw. So this could be fun. B People will lead out. And Isildur with top and bottom pair. Does make the raise. Now, does that shut out Sussy Smith? So he shut out Sussy Smith quickly 8 times. No, it doesn't. Taking the aggressive route. Doesn't have too many chips behind, so can't see him folding now he's made that bet. Isildur will commit his money. Not the hardest decision he's ever had to make with 2 pair on this flop. Sussy will call and will run the turn and river with Sussy Smith all in. Big pot, 1.3 million in the middle. Sussy's tournament on the line. 8 of spades is no help. He's going to need to connect with those straight cards, and 7 of clubs will not get it done. Isildur 1 will take down the pot and vault into the chip lead. Sussy Smith leaves us in 4th with $60,800. And over the next few hands, not too many changes. Isildur 1 and B People at the head of affairs. B People resuming the chip lead. The difference between those two and Rutangescu is not great, especially with the stacks this deep. 5,000, 10,000 blinds as we watch hand at 119. This is the commentator-friendly blind level and viewer-friendly. Easy to work out their stacks. 141.8 big blinds in the short stack. Not too many tournaments you play where that's the short stack 3-handed. Isildur will defend the 9-2. Just watch and enjoy him defending the 9-2. Don't think I can defend the 9-2 because you're not him. So it's not going to work. Check it goes on the flop. And you see, you wouldn't turn the 9 because you're just mortal. He does. Isildur vaults to the lead. And will lead out. Flat call from the Romanian on the button. And a bink on the river. Straight for Rutangescu on the river. Isildur is still with top pair. And looks like he's going to check call, which is going to keep him out of harm's way a little bit, you'd have thought. Rutangescu will bet. Looked like he was thinking about his bet there, but it's going to be pretty standard value bet. Not a huge pot, but can Isildur 1 sniff this out? Oh, he's going to raise him. So Isildur taking a creative river line. It's not going to work out for him this time. We know that. We can see that his opponent has got lucky on the river and made the straight. And he'll just flat call. Well, he didn't have the nuts. 10-8 would have given him the nuts, and obviously figured he couldn't get paid by raising again by anything else. Interesting decision. Does win him the pot. We'll jump forward to a few hands. Hand 126. Isildur back in the chip lead, but there's been no really massively significant action. The three stacks very close together. And we'll watch a blind battle between these two excellent players. Isildur will flat call the 3-bet. And that's not a great flop for him. One of those horrible hold'em situations where it looks like a great flop. Actually, he's second best. Rutangescu, which is becoming increasingly difficult to say. Probably shouldn't drink while I do these commentaries. Thinking about going with Rue. Don't know how you all feel about that. Don't know how he feels about that. Might be a gamble. Anyway, he's bet. And we know Isildur isn't folding. And actually, he's going to check raise. It's getting a bit unfortunate here in that every time he makes these check raises, the Romanian player has the goods. And he will flat call. 500,000 plus is in the middle right now. And, well, that card makes Rutangescu 2-pair, but I don't think it makes a huge difference to how he plays the hand. It does give Isildur the straight draw to go with his top pair. I don't think he was slowing down anyway. Isildur will fire the turn. Just over half pot. Always notable when we do the scoops and the W coops how much smaller most of the bet sizing is compared to the Sunday Millions. Now, some of that is to do with stack depth. I think some of it is also to do with just the general quality of the play. Rutangescu will flat call, giving Isildur the opportunity to keep bluffing if he is bluffing. Over 1 million in the middle. Seven of spades doesn't look like it's changed too much, and Isildur is going to slow down. Doesn't fancy getting paid again on this river. It would be pretty surprising if Rutangescu didn't want to try. With top 2 pair. And he will actually check it down. Interesting decision. Perhaps one to go back and analyse a little bit, if you like, whether or not he could have value bet there. As the question becomes, what does he get paid with? But the pot had got very big, over 1 million in it at the end there. And interesting decision, really interesting decision. A couple of really interesting river decisions from pots between those two. We'll move on to hand 134, and wasn't so long ago that Rutangescu was the short stack, now the chip leader after those couple of significant wins. And we'll see another encounter between these two. Why not? The last two were fun. Isildur is the 3-better, and Rutangescu is the man with the hand. He flops 6s and 4s. Isildur bets. He's got a habit of doing that. Works quite well for him. Rutangescu calls. And that, yet again, is an unfortunate card for Isildur. Well, looked like a good card from where he's sitting. He's actually still behind. He fires again. Just a flat call in position again from Rutangescu. And I don't think the 5 of clubs is going to save Isildur any money. His ludicrously high level of poker ability might save him some money, though. He does make the value bet. And again, Rutangescu just calls. Didn't fancy trying to get paid by raising. So 3 interesting river decisions, 3 hands that are fascinating to look at from both players' point of view. The simple truth is, Rutangescu's had the best hand in all 3 times. Could he have won more is a question for debate. It's obviously much easier when you can see Isildur's cards. Isildur limping the button, mixing things up here. Needs to get back in this. Those pots that we've watched where he had a hand, ran into a better hand. Doesn't matter if you are one of the best in the world, they're going to cost you money. He needs to find a way back in. B people will raise with the only real hand on display. Isildur will call with position. Rutangescu will not try and make 10-6 pay twice. Isildur's turn to have a nice flop. It breaks even in the end. That's what we've learnt. This time he catches top pair and his opponent still has a decent hand. You can't ask for too much of a better flop with pocket 8s. This online back-to-back tournament performance from Isildur, phenomenal stuff. If you haven't already checked it out, go and check out yesterday's Scoop Highlights show. We showed you the medium buy-in final table, which Isildur won. So he's trying to go back-to-back for Scoop tournaments on consecutive days, which would be an amazing achievement. Needs to make some money here if it's going to happen, or certainly needs to make some money somewhere, as he is now the shorter stack. Put yourself in B people's situation. Not great, is it? You've got pocket 8s. It's winning most of the time on this board. You bet, and one of the most aggressive players anywhere in poker raises you. What do? Pop quiz hot shot. 7 gives him a straight draw to go with his pocket 8s. Isildur has the shorter stack. Has the number of the beast and then some other numbers. So I think that invalidates it. Relax, everyone. Works out about 1.5 times the pot and a bit more. If he bets here, he's not folding, I think is what it generally means. And he does make the bet. Will B people be enticed to call? I mean, he's almost getting odds to improve his hand. It's a funny spot, isn't it? Because of Isildur's stack. He does make the flat call. 700 plus in the middle. And a safe river for Isildur. Actually makes him 2 pairs, you can see. And B people will check. And now what? Well, he does call, and you can understand why. Queen of Hearts completed the flush, brought an overcard. Just not too many hands that Isildur can be betting for value there. Bit polarised, and unfortunately for B people, he was polarised to the I've got a big hand end. So that changes things a bunch. Isildur doubles up. Needed to get back into things. Rutangescu, still your chip leader. Playing 7,000, 14,000. So still huge amounts of play left in this 3-handed tournament. as you're seeing right here, the 4-bet from B People. And Isildur thinking, decides to flat call. And it's interesting just how many flops he's prepared to take out of position. Really is one of those watch and enjoy, don't try and put it into your own game situations. Funny flop, this one, because B People with the ace high will think that he's winning a decent amount of the time. Does decide to continue with the aggression, though. It's a small continuation bet, which seems reasonable on this flop. And Isildur one will attack the flop just for a change. He's a check-raising machine, isn't he? Don't think this will come as a huge surprise to B People. He will have planned from this contingency. If you reopen the betting against a player like Isildur, you're going to have already thought about what you're going to do if he's going to raise. And B People decides it was a bet fold. Gets out of the way, and Isildur's aggression takes down another pot. We'll jump forward a few hands. Isildur has regained the chip lead with continued aggression, as you'd expect. Ruchangescu has actually run into B People's 2-pair, which is why he's dropped down a little bit. But Isildur looking to take control of this tournament now. And we're not really that close to being done yet with the amount of play these players have. Isildur flops the best hand. Not too many times he's had the best hand against Ruchangescu. Pretty standard continuation bet here, and Isildur will flat call. King of Spades, well, might well make Isildur feel a little bit more confident about his hand. Unlikely to be up against a king. Wonder what that will do to Ruchangescu's play. No slowing down from the Romanian. Hope you're enjoying this final table. Real quality poker on display. Pretty relentless aggression from all players concerned. You'd expect nothing less, of course. Jack of Diamonds is basically a blank. Ruchangescu will know he has to bluff to win. But will Isildur's turn call make him give this one up? 370,000 in the middle. B People on the sidelines hoping these two have a 4 million chip war on the river. Doesn't happen, unfortunately. Ruchangescu gets the message. Don't think Isildur was folding on that river, and he shuts it down. Isildur is the chip leader in hand 237. 8-16 blinds. And 2 big hands. Not that these players need big hands to go to war. Not a great spot this for B People with the, well, it's a really strong hand, isn't it? 3-handed on the button. One of the rare occasions he's actually up against something better. He will take a flop. The Case Queen has arrived. Looking for my Case Queen sample on the soundboard. Don't have it. Imagine it'd be a fanfare, but a feminine one. Send in your Case Queen samples and put them in the show next time. Ruchangescu will bet it. Why not? Fantastic situation for him. Not great for B People. I mean, he has a hand here. He's up against a very aggressive opponent. That's a nasty turn card for him. He now will feel like he's got the best hand a ton of the time. Unfortunately, it's not this time. And I fear for the British player here. $400,000 in the middle. You've got to think Rutan-Descu is trying to figure out how to get B-People's money in the middle. He's decided to check. And that's an interesting piece of thinking. He's just thinking, just not going to get any action on that turn card if I bet. So he decided to check now. How does he go from here? B-People will fire this turn. And he gets a flat call. Less than a pot size bet left. Just look at this hand from B-People's point of view. Just no reason not to think he's got the best hand. And the question is, does he think he can get paid again? Are there enough worse hands that Rutan-Descu will call this river with if he fires? Well, there's your answer. He thinks there are. Rutan-Descu's played this to perfection. It's a little bit easier to play to perfection when you have such a huge hand. Looked like a bad situation from B-People from pre-flop. It turned out to be just that. And it is the exit of the British player in a great third place, $88,000 for him, and we're head up for the money and the title. Rutan-Descu, the Romanian, against Isildur, with not much between them. The first few hands of heads up will go Rutan-Descu's way, and it's kind of been like that when these two have played hands at this final table. The Romanian has held over Isildur a little bit. We'll see if that changes. Of course, we know Isildur 1 is one of the most feared heads-up no-limit hold'em players in the world, bar none. So Rutan-Descu has his work cut out for him. Not that he's shown any signs of intimidation. He's played really well this final table. No deal done, I should tell you, among these six. They would play straight up for the money. $42,000 between first and second, plus the scoop title, of course. And a familiar theme with Isildur check raising the flop. And Rutan-Descu trying to figure out how to proceed. Just no fun to play against, is it, when you're being continuously check raised? He decides to 3-bet. And we have seen him mix up flat calling Isildur's check raises and 3-betting them. And Isildur, well, that's how you get the reputation as one of the best heads-up no-limit players in the world. No surrender. He takes it to the next level of aggression. And we can see that Rutan-Descu has the best hand, but I'm not sure that's relevant anymore. He decides to flat call. This is really interesting. 900,000 in the middle. And the 4 binks the turn. Well, it's one of those funny ones, because Rutan-Descu did have the best hand, but of course, how confident can you be about the best hand when it's a pair of 4s with a 6 kicker? That will give him that comfort, and Isildur seems to have set his mind on winning this pot. That's going to get him out of it, I think. Well, I don't think, I'm certain. Shove from Rutan-Descu, and Isildur is able to fold. Fantastic aggression from Isildur 1. Didn't work that time, but really, really fun to watch. I hope you're enjoying this. You are watching one of the best in the world at what he does best. But can he turn this round? It's been really tough for him against Rutan-Descu. It seems like every time they've gone to war, Rutan-Descu's had the best hand, and again he has a real hand here. Isildur 1 trying to do the, well, the extremely difficult, maybe not impossible. We have seen people go back-to-back before, but not too often. Not too often in events this big. And this may not be great for him. He's run into another real hand, and he's flopped a hand. Almost better for him if he didn't connect with this flop at all. Isildur does check. It's been a long, tough final table, this. As you can see, we're watching hand 307. And Ruujangescu very close to victory here. Well, now he's really close. Isildur shoves with second pair. An easy call for Ruujangescu, and he just needs to fade the turn and river, and he will be your champion. Isildur looking for help, and there it is, 4 on the turn. And the 2 of clubs doesn't change anything, no redraw, and Isildur won with the lucky double up. Huge, huge result for him. Hard psychologically for Ruujangescu now. He was a couple of cards from putting this one away. He still has a big chip lead, but he's kind of got to win it again. And maybe this is the opportunity. A few hands have passed without significant action, but we're going to see some here. Nut flush draw and overcard for Ruujangescu, as you can see, actually ahead of top pair. The way these two play, you'd expect this to turn into a big pot. You can expect that with anyone heads up, but certainly here. Isildur checks and Ruujangescu will bet. There's the check raise. Nothing remarkable about that, the way Isildur's been playing him. Now this will be the interesting action, because Ruujangescu has flat called in a couple of spots, but probably not with as strong a hand as this. He's more than happy to go to war here. Makes the 4 bet. Isildur with the 5 bet, and this is a dance that ends in money in the middle, I think. It is just a click back from Isildur. Ruujangescu may be debating the merits of making a different action. Possibly thinking about whether to set Isildur all in or not. He does make the small bet. Isildur does make the shove. And Ruujangescu committed to call. Will happily get it in with this hand. And we'll see a big, big pot. This will get Isildur almost back to even if it holds. But he's got to dodge a lot of outs. 6 of diamonds is safe for him. Ruujangescu praying for a heart or an ace or a queen. And the 10 of clubs is safe for Isildur. And we've got a whole new tournament. Just 2 hands have turned this round. Isildur now really competitive, and we're back to playing deep stack poker. And even though Ruujangescu looks like a really top player, you'd have to think Isildur will fancy himself as having an edge here. Playing no limit hold'em with deep stacks. Ruujangescu flops trips. Isildur with king high. He does have the initiative, and he will bet. Ruujangescu with the check raise. And I think Isildur will continue in some way here. He does flat call. Nice spot for Ruujangescu because he's check raising that flop without too much a lot of the time. And an interesting turn card, the Jack of Clubs, gives Isildur the nut flush draw. Ruujangescu will just keep firing. And Isildur will call. Has that club draw. And also will be ahead a decent amount of the time and manages to hit the river. Ruujangescu also has a club. His club is not as big. The more perceptive among you will be all over that. So what looked like a fantastic spot with trip aces is a little bit more ambiguous now for Ruujangescu, and he will make a pot controlling check. Tough to see him getting out of paying off on the river, though, isn't it? With the flush card in his hand. It's a big bet from Isildur in the context of how they've been bet sizing. 650 into an 800k pot. Ruchangescu was calling all the way. Gets the news that the river has done for him here. Significant pot as well. Isildur with a decent chip lead for the first time. And whereas earlier when these two were playing significant hands, Ruchangescu was holding over him, perhaps the tide has turned. Jump forward a few hands in what was a really long up and down heads-up battle. A lot of small pots. Both these players, as you've seen throughout this final table, playing small ball poker, playing those small bets and raises that have become standard at the top level of tournament play. This is hand 424 with Isildur stretching his lead. And an action flop. Isildur hitting middle pair with a gut shot. Ruchangescu with the flush draw. Now, here's a question. Does it qualify as a straight flush draw if your straight draw is a bit rubbish? Or do you have to have the full open-ended whammy to be called a straight flush draw? Open question. Ruchangescu with the rubbish straight and flush draw. That's still a very strong hand. He'll lead out. Isildur will raise him, and you'd expect Ruchangescu's money to go in if he thinks he's got any kind of fold equity. His money does go in. He's got a big draw. Isildur committed to call after the raise. Pretty sure this is our biggest pot so far. 3.1 million in it. Ruchangescu, the all-in player, needs to improve. 9 helps Isildur, invalidates Ruchangescu's 8 draw. And the 8 comes. Full house on the river for Isildur. Ruchangescu makes the straight, but it's no good. And we have a champion, and it's deja vu all over again. Isildur wins the Scoop High Bind event to add to his medium scoop yesterday in event number 2. A fantastic back-to-back. We've seen it done before, but it's a rare beast, and Isildur 1 is exactly that. A rare beast in the poker world. He dominates in cash, he dominates in tournaments. What more can be said with this remarkable player? He scoops first prize, 160k. Ruchangescu put up a great fight, really gave Isildur all kinds of trouble at one point. He finishes second, and B People rounds off your podium finish. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Really fun watching one of the world's best at work, and a really high standard on that final table. That's what the Scoop gives you. I hope you're getting involved and playing and having as much fun with it as we are. 40 events means there's plenty still to go, and plenty of that 30 million of guaranteed money still up for grabs. Fantastic stuff. More from the Scoop very, very soon. Until next time, for everyone at PokerStars.tv, take it easy.